let's just jump right into it. What actually happens when you try to completely overwrite your own human nature? Well, in this explainer, we're taking a deep dive into a wild psychological experiment. A creator decided to take on a 30-day challenge to literally transform into Ayanokoji Kiyotaka. Now, if you're not familiar, he's this anime character famous for being hyper-calculated and just completely emotionally detached. And we're not talking about cosplay here. This creator tried to adopt this mindset in real life to master emotional control and social manipulation. So today, we are breaking down the grueling first 10 days, the foundation phase of this challenge.
Here's what we're looking at today. We'll start with the Ayanokoji experiment, moving to Phase 1, emotional detachment, then Phase 2, strategic observation, followed by Phase 3, weaponizing silence, and finally, we'll wrap up with the cost of control.
All right, Section 1, the Ayanokoji experiment, defining the baseline.
So the creator's big goal here was to see if treating everyday social interactions like a literal cheat code actually works in the real world. But to do that, they had to fully embody the Ayanokoji persona. What does that actually mean? It means absolutely zero emotional reaction. None. No matter what happens, your face stays totally neutral and your voice stays perfectly calm. You are intentionally trading in your natural, messy human impulses for a completely blank, unreadable slate. You gotta master strategic thinking, physical dominance, and complete neutrality, even when someone is actively trying to get under your skin.
To actually pull this off, the creator didn't just wing it. They built a strict chronological 10-day syllabus to lay down this psychological foundation step by step. So, days 1 through 3 were all about emotional detachment. Then, days 4 through 6 shifted to strategic observation. And finally, days 7 through 10 focused heavily on the power of silence. Let's break down exactly what went down in each of these phases.
Moving to Section 2, Phase 1, emotional detachment, suppressing the human instinct.
Okay, for the first 3 days, the creator basically put themselves through emotional boot camp. To force the issue, they'd start their mornings by deliberately watching triggering content. We're talking hyper-motivational speeches, tear-jerking sad stories, infuriating internet comments, stuff where your natural instinct is to either get hyped up or get super mad. But the new protocol? Blank face, controlled breathing, just observing. Think about it. In the past, getting cut off in traffic meant yelling at the windshield, right? Now, it meant just thinking, interesting choice, and moving on. Or when facing a nasty troll online, the old reaction was firing back an angry paragraph. The new reaction? Feeling that anger rise, recognizing it's there, and then simply closing the app. No engagement, just pure observation.
And this brings us to a massive light bulb moment on day 2. The creator realized that people get really uncomfortable when you don't react. Why? Because they completely rely on your emotions to validate theirs. For example, a friend shared some genuinely exciting news, and normally you'd match that energy, right? You'd say, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Instead, the creator delivered a completely flat, emotionless, that's good, congratulations, just a slight nod. The friend was so thrown off they actually asked, wait, are you okay? It turns out, absolute neutrality actively disarms and confuses people. When you strip away those expected reactions and offer nothing but a blank slate, people literally don't know what to do with you. Now, this is super exhausting for the brain at first, but by day 3, the creator found that this detachment actually led to much clearer thinking and way better decision-making.
Next up, Section 3, Phase 2, strategic observation, gathering human intel.
With their internal emotions now dialed all the way down, the creator shifted their focus outward for days 4 through 6. The new mission was to study people like you're gathering covert intel. They'd sit in the corner of a coffee shop, and immediately these predictable patterns started emerging everywhere. That guy in the suit checking his watch every 2 minutes. He wasn't just checking the time. His anxiety was loudly broadcasting that he was running late. The girl by the window constantly darting her eyes at the door. She wanted to make a good impression. Even a friend who kept asking, "Does that make sense?" after every single sentence was unintentionally screaming for validation. It turns out people are entirely predictable once you actually sit back and watch them long enough.
And then, on day 6, things got real. The creator actually weaponized this intel in a group setting. Before a conversation even kicked off, they mapped out the room like a chessboard. They identified the extrovert who talked first, the quiet observer, and crucially, the people pleaser. To control the consensus of the entire room, they executed this really simple strategy. They pitched their idea directly to the people pleaser first. And just like clockwork, once the people pleaser agreed, because that's what they do, the rest of the group naturally fell right in line. By just seeing the invisible insecurities driving everyone's behavior, the creator effortlessly guided the outcome of the entire room. Kinda wild, right?
All right, Section 4, Phase 3,
weaponizing silence, controlling the void.
For the final stretch of the foundation phase, days 7 through 10, the creator focused on a core Ayanokoji trait, speaking rarely and only with extreme intention. The goal here was pretty drastic. They wanted to cut their speaking volume by 50%. And the strategic advantages? They were immediate. In a meeting where they'd normally be the one rushing to fill the dead air, the creator just stayed completely quiet. So when they finally did speak, the entire room locked in. Turns out, making your words rare gives them this incredibly heavy weight. Plus, silence makes you totally unpredictable. It forces everyone else to scramble to fill that uncomfortable void, which usually means they end up over-explaining, justifying themselves, and just spilling all their own insecurities.
Let me share this fascinating little anecdote the creator documented on day 9. They called it the 3-minute venting test. So a friend comes to them, super upset, venting about a problem, and clearly expecting the creator to jump in, agree, or offer a quick fix. But the creator, they just listened. No interruptions, no unsolicited advice. For 3 full minutes, the friend talked and talked until they finally ran out of steam, looked at the creator and asked, "Well, what do you think?" Now, instead of jumping in to save the day, the creator deployed a very calculated 3-second pause, and then simply replied, "What do you think you should do?" The friend paused, actually thought about it, and literally solved their own problem right on the spot. The creator didn't take a side or give any advice. They just let the silence do all the heavy lifting.
This whole experience crystallized into one profound realization for the creator. Silence is power, and neutrality is control. This really hit home when someone tried to trap them into giving an opinion on a highly controversial topic. Normally, the instinct is to jump right in and passionately defend your stance, right? But the new Ayanokoji method? It was a deliberate 5-second pause followed calmly by, "I don't have enough information to form an opinion yet." The other person was just totally confused. You see, people generally talk just to kill the silence, because the quiet makes them squirm. When you become comfortable living in that void, you completely control the dynamic.
Bringing us to Section 5, the cost of control, weighing the trade-offs.
So after 10 days of this grueling foundation phase, we have to look at the psychological ledger here. What was actually gained and what was lost? Well, on one hand, you have the cheat code. The creator undeniably achieved this unshakable calm, they could predict behavior, and they effortlessly controlled social interactions. It worked. But on the other hand, you have the isolating cost. Forced emotional detachment meant personal connections suddenly felt a lot shallower and less real. Because once you start analyzing everyone around you as just predictable data points, you kind of can't unsee it. This whole tension peaked when a genuinely confused friend just bluntly asked, "Why are you acting weird?" The creator tried to brush it off, saying they were just thinking more, but the friend simply didn't get it.
Which leaves us with this massive, unresolved question from the creator. Is becoming Ayanokoji actually worth it? Sure, you gain immense power, you become highly calculated, and you're always the one in control of the room. But the trade-off is feeling completely alone, detached, and honestly wondering if you're even acting human anymore. The creator still has 20 days left in their experiment to figure out if this level of social mastery is worth the extreme isolation it demands. But I'll leave it to you to think about. If treating human interaction like a calculated game meant losing your genuine connections, would you ever try to use this cheat code?